Facts about torture. Freedom from torture is a fundamental human right. It's important to know that facts about torture so we can work to end it forever. Torture is a crime under the U.S. law, and it's banned by the UN Convention. The torturer's purpose is to break an individual's will and render them helpless, destroy a sense of community, stifle civil society, create a climate of fear, and silent dissent. Torture is used to break down people's will, ultimately destroying trust in communities. When torture is used to create fear, people become afraid to speak up. Does this sound like civil court? Does this sound like your divorce case or your custody case? There are people who have told me that their ex had never seen their kid, and then all of a sudden shows up in the case and the judge gives them custody. Like, your kid's like 10, never seen your kid, 6, never seen the kid, never even talked with them, and all of a sudden you're giving them custody. And I had a mom tell me, she's like, I'm going to shut my mouth. I got my kids back, and I'm not saying nothing until my kids turns 18. Do you know how many parents have done that? Torture affects basic human needs: the need to feel safe, the need to trust, the need to feel close to others, the need to feel of value, self-worth, and a need to feel some control over their lives. How many times have you walked into the family court system and left with your head spinning going, what the hell just happened? How many times have you walked out of the courtroom and they've made you feel like you're a piece of shit of a parent? Now, my thing is, before I ever went through a divorce, I had already done a lot of information on understanding me and knowing who I am. If you need help with that, I would check out the Briggs and Myers information. You can take a little test. It'll tell you your personality. And then what you can do is you can take your personality and you can look up your strengths. You can look up your weaknesses. I used this to figure out what degree I was going to get. I've taken other tests that have either came up with the same Briggs and Myers, or I've actually taken tests where it actually said that the degree I was in is the degree I should be getting. There was a program I had to go into because there were no jobs in Michigan, right? And so I had to go into this program so I didn't end up in jail for not paying my child support because I couldn't. I wasn't working. There were no jobs. And one of the things that they do is they give you a test, right? So I took the test and it says that I should be in the degree I had just graduated from, right? And it was interesting because I could also be like a counselor, therapist with my degree. And I could have done the jobs of the people that were there. I actually applied for the job, right? But they wouldn't hire me. I would have staff that come and say, hey, Dina, do you know about this job, and this job? I would say, yeah, do you know about this job, and this job? I actually found a job, went to it, did my own interview, and got my own job. I ended up getting laid off, and I had to go back into the program. They wanted me to take this test again. I said, look, I took this test last time. It says that I'd be perfect in the degree that I already have. So why would you give me this test again? Like, this is just a waste of my time. Another thing is, because I have a bachelor's degree in human services, I could work for the front of the court. Would you think they're going to hire me at the front of the court? No, I applied for jobs there. When I was there the first time I applied for a job, when I ended up back there was still a job position open, so I applied for it. But, of course, they're not going to hire me. The need to feel close to others. So, you know, when you're telling this stuff to family members, right? They look at you like you're absolutely crazy. And not just that, your other half is out there telling lies and spreading lies to your family members and everything else about you, right? So people don't really know what to say, what to think, or even kind of trust you. So you can't really feel close to others. And I got to the point where I didn't trust nobody except for my mama. It's the only person. Friends, other family members, I didn't trust nobody, just my mama. So, right, that's that need to trust, right? And when you get to the point in family court and you've been in it for years, you don't trust anything. You know, you'll go to these services, you know, they'll start helping you, then they'll do a 360, right? And I keep trying to tell people, like, somebody from the court system is going to call them, they're going to do a 360 on you. I keep telling them, they're like, oh, my lawyer's going after the judge. I'm like, look, your lawyer's going to do a 360 on you. No, I was like, look, here's the thing. So the Department of Human Services is over Child Protective Services. Well, the Department of Human Services is run by your county. Your divorce court is run by your county. So if your judge is not doing, or your attorney is not doing what they're telling you to do, guess what? CPS is going to come knock on the door. And guess what? If they don't have kids, they're going to go to a family member's kids. And they're going to show up and they're going to have some bogus bullcrap reason why they're coming, and they're going to take your kids. Either you shut the hell up and you do what this judge is telling you to, or they will take your kids or a family member kids and they will put them in the system. Torture affects the basic human needs: the need to feel safe, the need to trust, the need to feel close to others, the need to feel a value, self-worth, and a need to feel some control over one's life. Think about this. When you're going through the family court system, were every one of these needs affected? Torture is used intentionally to impact how victims feel about themselves, right? So how I felt about myself, they were trying to make me be a bad mother, but they couldn't do that because I already knew who I was. About other people. So I was to the point I didn't trust any other people because I just couldn't trust anyone. And their place in the world, right? Did your judge make you feel like you were a bad parent, right? Were you like wondering, like, why you're in this world? What's the purpose of this world? Why are you going through this? Why are you in family course? Oh my God, this is horrible. I don't know how many times I said this is a nightmare. And I kept thinking I was going to show up on the Oprah Winfrey show, which now we all know we don't want to show up in her show. Psychological torture does not leave a scar, but can be devastating, right? The same thing. So, abuse, right? There's physical abuse, there's mental abuse, there's psychological abuse. When somebody is mentally abusing you, they're not leaving scars. I never thought it was an abusive relationship. I didn't have any scars on me. But when I learned about mental abuse, guess what? Financial abuse, there's religious abuse. And torture. There's a thing called no-touch torture. People can literally torture you and not touch you, not put one scar on you, not harm a hair on your head, but they can still torture you. How? Humiliation, right? So you go into the court system, right? And they're humiliating. They give your abuser custody of your kids, right? And back then, people were like, why don't you have custody of your kids? I literally had friends that came to me and said, Dina, what did you do? Why don't you have custody of your kids? I'm looking at them, I'm like, I'm going to tell you right now, I didn't do anything. Okay? Sleep deprivation, right? So if you're going against the system, right, they're going to come after you. When I started talking about custody being sold and how they did it, I didn't make people happy. I was messing with their money, right? People started following me. I didn't feel safe. People were in my home. I know people were in my home. I one time had a bed that was my daughter's that was raised up on one end, and I called the police, and the police officer came out. And he's like, is there anybody here? And I said, nope. I looked at my refrigerator. I thought there was going to be like a finger in there, a head in there, something. I don't know. The police came out and he's like, okay, well, there's nobody here. And I'm like, where are you going? You're going underneath that bed. That's what you're here for. You're here to lift that up and see what's going on there. So somebody was in my apartment. Somebody was rummaging through my things, had lifted up the end of this bed. And when they set it down, it didn't go down all the way. Right? Another thing, I had this chain lock on my door, right? And I would come home and people didn't know I had the chain lock on the door, and the door frame was coming off. I had to pound it back in. After like the third time, I had to get screws and screw it in there. I'm like, damn, people were coming in and out of my apartment left and damn right, and I didn't even know it, right? They didn't know I had put this chain lock on there where you have to put your arm through and you have to put a key in to drop the little chain in order to get in. So that was really interesting. So, and other horrible acts created long-lasting damages that require healing. So, sleep deprivation. My former spouse used sleep deprivation. A lot of these people who are abusive are using sleep deprivation. And it's funny because I had a counselor and we were talking. And, he's like, you're a pretty strong person. Nobody would really believe that you were abused. He's like, how do you think you did it? Well, it was kind of interesting because I started thinking back, and I remember how I was always tired. And when we had separated, he came in one day. I was pregnant. I was trying to take a nap. He came in, walked in the room, threw up the door, starts bitching and complaining about some bills or something, right? And I was like, get the fuck out of my house. Like, you don't even live here and I still can't get any goddamn sleep, right? And that's the point where I realized, like, he was using sleep deprivation. If I was tired and exhausted and I would go to bed, he would send one of the kids in with me. My friend that I talked to all day long, he would send the kid in with the phone to talk to me. Like, I can talk to her later. I've already talked to her 20 times today, right? So they like to use sleep deprivation. It keeps you off balance. Now, if I'm to the point and I don't get a lot of sleep, I'm like, why am I not getting sleep? Who's depriving me of sleep? What's going on here? I start getting a little paranoid. Like, who the hell is messing with me? Many survivors live with depression or post-traumatic stress disorder. Come on, people are getting post-traumatic stress disorder from being in family court system. They are literally being diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder because of the system. In order to get this, you have to be tortured. You have to have some kind of accident. You've had to have something horrifically horrible happen, right? So don't tell me that family court, these judges aren't torturing you and aren't allowing your ex to torture you, okay? Because they are. It's part of the process because they've probably sold custody. Either they've sold the custody to your former spouse or your child's parent, or they're selling them to DCS. Department of Health and Human Services, Child Protective Services. If you start looking in Title 4B, you will see the money that CPS gets. If you look into Title 4D, you look into the kickbacks that judges are getting for child support. Just so you know. So hypnosis, I found, done in water is a great way to help with the effects of being tortured. And that's why I created hydrohypnosis. You can listen to it on Podbean. I just started it in 2024, so it's quite new. What I'm doing right now is I'm doing little snippets of hypnosis while I'm in the process of learning. I've actually got certified to be able to do hypnosis. And so I'm doing little snippets, and these are mostly for kids, for children, and stuff like that. Once I get the podcast up and going, it's going to be longer, and you'll be able to purchase podcasts, just single individual ones, or I'm going to have like a subscription that you can get for more. And so you can listen to these, and you can go in the hot tub or pool and listen to them with friends. You can have like parties over and people can come, right? And you can listen to them. So that is coming in the future. I am working on that. So my name is Dina Klostra, and I am DK Family Court Certified Trauma Coach. Thanks for listening to my video, and I hope you have a wonderful day.